there's no doubt that in the last 5 years there's been very much a revolution, a technological revolution in golf in general, both in terms of equipment but also in particular in terms of the way the game is coached and taught. The current technology is incredible and varied and wide, and you look around here, I've got some examples of the kind of technology you can expect to see when and if you go for a golf lesson, certainly a club fitting. So we've evolved from video cameras sort of 20 years ago, big cumbersome things, and we're now into small digital cameras, super slow motion cameras. A lot of the stuff that you see on TV, a lot of the close-up shots that you see on TV are filmed on very high speed cameras, very high frame rates, so you get incredible detail. These cameras are now available to coaches. We've got laptops for coaching software. You can get video replay instantly on the range. That's developed into tablet and also into smartphone technology as well. On top of that, we've now got launch monitors, radars like Flight Scope that we use here, and combine all that together, and what you find is that often when you go for a golf lesson you're confronted with this vast wall of information and data, certainly much more so than 15-20 years ago, even 5-10 years ago. And as a consequence, I think that there's a lot of people out there, when you search the internet maybe looking for information about your golf game, there's a lot of technical data out there, and it can be very intimidating standing in front of all this technology and trying to understand all the numbers that these things create and show you. What I want to do today is encourage you to look at technology that's available to you and use that to help improve your game, particularly coming towards the end of a season, coming into a winter period where perhaps you're going to review your season and have a look at how you're going to improve through the winter. So most of you are probably not going to have access to these kind of cameras. You're not going to necessarily have all the software available on a laptop, but certainly tablet and phone in particular can be a very useful way of you taking video of your golf swing and having a look to see what happens, particularly the differences between what happens in practice and what happens on the golf course. So there's a couple of areas we can work on here, and I think the first thing to note is that you're going to need an app. It's a very inexpensive app. I think it's $2.99 or so, $3.99 at the most. It's the V1 Golf app. Now this is a teaching app. Many of the pros will use this exact app, and it allows you to upload video taken on one of these devices onto the screen so that you can slow it down, you can move it frame by frame, you can draw lines on it where necessary, and you can also compare yourself potentially to a library of tour players. Now, when you're out on the golf course and when you're on the range, I recommend that on a reasonably regular basis, not necessarily every session, but if you're there with a friend or someone who you know who can use the camera on your device and take some footage of your golf swing, it's very useful for a variety of reasons. Firstly, the vast majority of us as human beings are what are called visual kinesthetic learners. Now that means that we learn primarily by seeing and then by feeling a new position or a new action. There's also very much an element of players out there, I believe, who struggle to transfer practice time or range time out onto the golf course. And there's a feeling of I hit the ball better in practice. If that's you, then certainly I would recommend take a couple of video clips on the range and then take a couple of video clips out on the golf course while you're playing. Obviously not in a competition, but if you're out playing a few holes with friends, get someone to video you on your device. You can then compare the two swings and see how different or similar they may be. And thirdly, if you're taking coaching, it's a big element, a big advantage if you can take away video from that lesson so that you can refer back to it in your own practice. So it certainly gives you the availability to ask your pro to use your device, film it, or send you the clips through by email. Film it on your device, or like I say, load the clips up and then compare it to what you've done in practice maybe 2 or 3 weeks later, and you'll see how well you're transferring that tuition into a new movement or new skill out on the course. So a lot of technology available. Some of it can be used to amass great detail and great depth of information. Like I say, ultimately all of this equipment is designed to help you play better. So if you have access to some or all of this, then that's fantastic. But remember, it has to translate, has to transfer into better golf out on the golf course. And that demands that you understand what that information is, and you're able to monitor that when you're out on your own practicing and playing. So take your device, use the V1 app, and develop that into a winter practice and playing regimen. See if that helps you understand the difference between perhaps how you practice and how you play. It'll help you understand whether you're actually making the changes that you should be, and it will help highlight any flaws that you may have. I hope this helps. We've got a new Facebook page, the HDiD Golf Academy on Facebook. It's a great place for you to get in touch with us. We're trying to keep this social and interactive, so please go on the site, go on the page, send us any comments or questions you have, and we'll try to get back to them as soon as we can.